So the other day, I am scrolling TikTok, just minding my own business, and I happen to see that there's a new Dracula movie coming out. First, I don't care because, for one thing, the remakes, we know, I'm typically not too excited. Second thing is, I didn't care for the 90s version. I know, listen. I saw it for the first time when I was 12 at a sleepover. It was long and boring. I tried to rewatch it again a few years back. It was fine. We couldn't finish it because my husband and I had a 2-year-old and we had to go to bed and just never picked it back up. I wasn't interested enough. I wasn't like, oh my God, I have to finish this movie. So I see the TikTok edits of Dracula, A Love Tale. And at first glance, I was like, I don't know about this. But then you know how TikTok is. You sit for a second and you watch one. They send you a whole bunch of similar TikToks. So the more I saw these edits, the more I was like, do I want to watch this? And I find out that this past summer, the movie was released in other countries, but it's not going to be released in the US until 2026. Some sweet soul on TikTok posted the entire movie in 12 or 13 parts. And because I'm impatient, I watched them all. I should have waited until the movie came out and spent money on it, supported everybody involved, but I didn't. I have to say, this is the one very rare occasion that I like something new over a 90s version. I like the remake. Well, I'm pretty sure the 90s version isn't the first Dracula movie. Keep in mind, this is coming from somebody who has a very lacking knowledge of Dracula. I really don't know much about the Dracula lore beyond he's a famous vampire. I know generally how vampires are supposed to work. But beyond that, I don't know. But I know that it's a very old story. But I do think that the 90s Dracula is the most liked, the most well-known. The one TikTok that's going around the most is the scene where Dracula sees Mina, or his reincarnated wife, Elisabetta, and it's honestly just perfection. The way that he looks at her and her coming in and you're seeing her morphing into the different versions of her. This is not a spoiler. It's on all the TikToks. When you see this, for me, every time I see the TikToks, when I saw it in the movie, I just get genuine goosebumps. These people, the actors that they have to play Dracula and Elisabetta / Mina, their chemistry is so real. You believe these people are meant to be together. And what is driving the woman crazy on TikTok is the way that he looks at her. Just the intensity and the this woman is the only woman that I will ever look at for the rest of my life. It's just regardless of what he looks like, it is his acting that is getting all the women really wanting to see this movie. The woman playing the main character, who's actually Rosanna Arquette's daughter, when I found that out, I was wild. She does look a lot like her mom, just a darker hair and eye version of her. In the movie, she doesn't so much look like her. I don't know, something about maybe being in the costume and maybe the way that the movie is shot. Her features that look a lot like her mom, I feel are more played down in the movie. But when you see pictures of her online, she looks so much like her mom. And she does a really good job in her role. But the guy, Caleb Landry or whatever his name is, steals the show. The man is so good as Dracula. And this is the first one I've ever seen him, but people online are saying that he's played a vampire before, apparently, when he was younger. And people are saying he's such a good actor in so many other things as well. But I've only ever seen him in this. Never knew he existed before this movie. I would say the movie, like, overall, worth watching. Go watch it. It's not without its problems, and I will talk about that in the spoilers, but overall, I liked it. I wish it was longer. The general consensus seems to be that the last part of it is pretty rushed, and people wish that they had taken their time more with the ending and more with the love story overall. I wish that they had made different choices with the way that they told the story. I don't think that this exact story is the same as what's in the 90s version, but I could be mistaken. I just could have been like too bored. So I think that it's like a retelling. I don't think that like frame by frame this is the same as the 90s version. I don't think. I could be wrong because again, consider the source. I am not a Dracula expert. I didn't even make it through the 90s movie. I have not read Bram Stoker's Dracula. So, be easy on me. A very rare thing for me is to rewatch a movie, especially a new movie, and this would be rewatchable for me. Honestly, your eyes are glued to the actor playing Dracula, and even though, like I said, it's not without its problems, so rewatchable. And even with those problems in mind, I would totally recommend this movie. Now, I'm going to get into some of the spoilers. The beginning of the movie, it opens up and you're seeing Dracula and his wife frolicking around. Can't keep their hands off each other. I don't know how long they would have been married at this point. But like, they're kind of going at it. And I don't know if it has to do with the fact that they're about to go to war and like maybe they don't know if they're going to see each other again. So they're doing their thing. And the other soldiers come to get him to take him to war. And then this is the thing that I might sound dumb. I don't know the reasoning for this. There probably is a good reason that I don't know. But he goes to war. And then his wife needs to leave the castle on horseback with some guards of her own. And I don't understand this choice. I don't know if they did this because they thought the castle wouldn't be safe. But if you know that your enemy is here, and they could be anywhere, right? The prince is going to go fight them. Wouldn't you be safer in the castle, being guarded? You can hide, you can take shelter. They're not necessarily going to make it in. Versus, because he says you're going to be going somewhere safe. Well, why didn't if you probably knew a war was going to happen? So like, couldn't she have been sent away before the enemy like made their way towards their home? That would make more sense to me. If they're here and you're actually putting on your armor to go and fight this war, it's probably not safe for your wife out there. She's like galloping along in the woods. I probably am missing something, but that didn't make any sense to me. But I guess they had to set up the tragedy somehow, but just make it make more sense for me. There's an enemy hiding in the tree, and he takes out her guards. She's trying to escape. They're advancing. Then they're in this open field, and there's all these bear traps everywhere that apparently nobody seems to know where they are. She doesn't, and neither does the enemy. But she's like, her horse goes down. She's in the middle of this field, and she's like, oh, well, her horse gets taken down by a bear trap. Then she gets stuck in a bear trap. She's screwed. One of the enemy soldiers is like advancing towards her. He's got his sword out, like trying to trigger the bear traps so that he can get to her, kill her. And word gets back to the prince that she's in trouble. He rides his horse as fast as he can to her. And the thing that I'm unclear about is how she dies, because when he gets there in the nick of time, he throws his sword at the enemy soldier in front of her, and it looks like it goes through him and also into her. But people are saying that he stabs her first, and then the prince throws the sword at the enemy soldier, killing him. I am unsure which is correct, but he is devastated. He goes back to the church and kills a priest, but he denounces God because he's been fighting in the name of God, and he asks the priest beforehand, please keep my wife safe, talk to God, have him keep my wife safe. God didn't do that, and so he is like turning his back on the church, kills the priest, and I guess in doing that becomes a vampire. They don't, in the movie, they don't really show like the logistics of that, like how that happens, but from my understanding, I don't know where I get this from. I don't know if it was from the internet or somebody told me, but the statue in the church, the statue of Jesus, cries blood, and then he drinks the tears. They didn't show that in the movie, but somebody told me that's what happens, perhaps in the book or perhaps in the first Dracula. I don't know, but I'm under the impression that is how he becomes a vampire. Why you'd be like, oh, I'm not cool with God anymore. The Jesus statue is bleeding. Let me go suck it up. Like, I don't know where that connects, but that might be how he became Dracula. You kind of see how he goes on this search for his wife. He thinks that she's going to become reincarnated. He goes centuries of trying to find her. He can't find her. Then he enlists some help. And this is supposedly how other vampires come to be. He has sired them all because he's putting them out into the world to find his wife. And also he has this perfume that will draw all the women to him so that he can hopefully find his wife that way. But after centuries of not finding her, we see him as the iconic Dracula, like the old, wrinkled, the long white hair, the whole thing. That is how we see him in his castle when this lawyer comes to see him. And I didn't realize that the reason why he looks like that the iconic Dracula look, is because he has basically lost his will to live, but he can't kill himself. But I'll talk about that more later, because there's another plot hole for me that doesn't make sense. He's barely keeping himself alive at this point, and in the castle at this point in the movie, with basically just like sipping off the blood of mice or rats. And I guess it never dawned on me to wonder why he looked like that, because obviously with the lore of vampires is, whenever you turn to a vampire, you stay whatever that age is. And I think he was like young, in his 30s, when he became a vampire. And so, but I guess with him being so distraught over not finding his wife, he just kind of like loses his will and just keeps himself barely alive by sipping on mouse blood. Interesting. Because when he finds out where his reincarnated wife is, he goes and kills a bunch of nuns and becomes young and beautiful again. So the way that he finds out where his reincarnated wife is, the lawyer who comes to the castle, I guess he comes to the castle to talk to him about properties, and he puts the lawyer up at in his house at night in a room and is like, don't come out. But he comes out, and Dracula's like, all right, sir, well, you done broke my rules, so I'm gonna eat you. And Old boy is upside down, and he's like, wait, before you kill me, tell me a story. And Dracula's like, oh, you want a story? I'll tell you a story. And then he starts telling his whole tale. And the lawyer's like, please don't kill me. I have a wife. I'm going to be married. Trying to appeal to Dracula's love of love. He's trying to appeal to Dracula's softer side because Dracula seems to have this soft spot for love after having lost his wife. And then Dracula is like, well, what's your wife look like then? Look at my locket. And he opens it and oh my God, it's his wife. Oh shit, I gotta get myself presentable right quick because I gotta go find her. And the first mistake he makes is he leaves the lawyer alive. He leaves him alive in the castle to be guarded by the gargoyles, which, by the way, the gargoyles, I've got questions, but we'll get there. He leaves him alive to be guarded in the castle by the gargoyles. But he gets loose, okay? Listen, if you are a vampire and you don't want to draw attention to yourself and you're trying to steal old boy's wife / your dead wife, you should just, if you have no problem killing priests and nuns, just get rid of the lawyer. He's gonna mess up your plans. And that he does. He finds Mina / his dead reincarnated wife. And you would think they're just gonna go off somewhere, they're gonna go hide, they're gonna go be in love happily ever after, right? No, because in his mind, the only place that they could be is his castle. Problem is, folks know where it is. There's gonna be trouble. You're not gonna live happily ever after. Like, how did you not see this coming? They're under siege. She's like screaming as the castle's being bombed. She's like, oh my God, like just helpless as usual. Dracula and the gargoyles are fighting off these people that are trying to save Mina, kill Dracula, to save everybody else that has been under his spell that had been turned, because if you kill him, everything goes back to normal. So the dude that plays, I don't know, so Van Helsing in the book and in the original movie, right, is the leader of the people that are trying to kill Dracula. I guess that's his name in this movie. Or I don't know if he's going by a different name, but he's like playing that character where he knows everything. He knows what to do. He's the leader in trying to kill Dracula. So he appeals to Dracula saying, listen, save her, give your life, let her live, like save her soul, basically. And this is what I don't understand, because Dracula says to him, oh, you're the one that's been killing all of my people. So he knew that he could be killed. So in the movie where maybe he doesn't know it at the point in the movie where he's like over and over again jumping out of the window of his castle to try to end his life to be with his wife. But at some point he finds out like he can die. Like he obviously wasn't going to die jumping out of a window, and they can't, die after being shot. But he knew at some point he could be staked or he could be beheaded. And with him, being all wasted away in his castle, why wouldn't he have done that earlier? And it doesn't make sense to me why he does it at this point in the movie, because he spent all these centuries looking for his wife. He finds her. He has her. He could take out all these people and they could leave and be together. But then he's like, do it before I change my mind to save her. It would have made more sense if he had been cornered in the room before he turned her, and then they appeal to whatever humanity he has left, and then he lets them stake him then. But it's an odd choice to do it at this point in the movie, because after he's killed, you would think if he's doing this for her, that after she turns back to a living person, that she would then maybe lose her memories, because she remembers, like, when he shows her his music box, which was a special thing between them, when he shows her that, she has all these visions of their past life. So after he dies, she doesn't forget. She now has to live with the fact that her true love is is gone. Has to go on living without him. How is this better for her? I don't, this is what I mean by the plot holes and stuff, the things that don't make any sense that bother me. I'm fine with a non-happy ending. I mean, it's Dracula. I don't think we're expecting a happy ending, even though we all like really want them to be together because I just love these two together. Make it make more sense for me. And again, I could be missing some things. Maybe there's things that they assume that you know because the Dracula movie is so old. You're just supposed to know all the lore and you're supposed to connect the dots. So if maybe there aren't truly plot holes. Maybe I just don't know enough about Dracula. But this is my perspective of it. And then at the end, when the spell is broken, the gargoyles, which by the way, the gargoyles and the castle and all that, like I got Beauty and the Beast, like vibes from this too. It definitely had like a Beauty and the Beast like feel for me with the gargoyles and how they're animated and they like do Dracula's bidding. It was very Beauty and the Beast to me. I don't know if that's weird, but it was a thought that I had watching the movie. But when the spell breaks and the gargoyles return to their true form, they're children, like with shaved heads, and they look kind of gray. And I was like, what? Like, I knew Dracula was a bad guy for like killing the priests and the nuns and all of that, but where did he get these kids from? And I tried to Google it. I still don't know. Nobody is talking about the children that he enslaved to be his gargoyles. Can somebody please explain to me where this comes from? Where did he get them from? Whose children did he steal? Why are they all bald? Somebody tell me, please. So, those are my thoughts on Dracula, A Love Tale. Must see. And that'll be it. And I will see you in my next video.